Hello everyone, I'm Rachel Tessman from StampYourArtOut.com. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from Andover, Minnesota in the US, and I'm here to bring you a live paper crafting class. It is Wednesday, April 8th, 2026, as I'm coming to you live. Happy April to everybody. We're gonna do a technique today called the floating frame. I posted a card earlier on my blog, about a week and a half ago, I think. And it was sharing the floating frame technique using the Help Me Grow dies. And I had lots of questions on it. I have done a video on this in the past. I think it was with a paper pumpkin kit. And then I also shared some cards a few months later, soon after, sharing it with other products. But that was a few years back. So we're gonna do it again because it is a fun and really impressive look on the background of a card, a scrapbook page, whatever you're designing. And it's pretty easy. It's just a little putsy. So I have a small condensed version of it, not a big, large version as far as like walking you through. So we'll do kind of like a mini layer onto two different cards. And then I'll show you a faux technique for it. So something where you don't have to go through all the steps. And then I have some other samples to share with you that I'll post on my blog in a couple days. So good morning. It's so fun. We had Michigan chiming in and Oregon and Florida. I'm seeing Northern California and Pennsylvania. This is awesome, you guys. Thank you, everybody, for telling me you're here. Hello, Dallas, Texas. Yay. All right. So a big welcome to all of you who are here. I appreciate you. It's really fun to do lives with other people showing up and talking in the chat and sharing your ideas. I love to learn from you as well. Hi, Teresa. And also, we want to welcome Trisha Joseph. She is my moderator. She is here every Wednesday, and she's here to answer questions, guide you all into the right places, and make sure that you understand the whole process of what I'm sharing in the video. So thank you, Trisha, for being my right-hand gal. And then welcome to anybody who's new. So if you're new to my channel, I hope that you stay for a while and check out what I have to share today. 5 cards. I have 5 cards to show you that are finished, and then we're going to actually make versions of 3 of them. Okay? So altogether, there will be 8 different cards that you'll be able to see ideas from. Marylinda's here. Yay! All right, so let me bring you to the desktop, and I'm going to show you the cards that we're going to focus on for this video as far as detail goes. These are the first 2, and we're using the Ultra-Breathable stamp set and punch bundle that will be available May 5th. So it's a little bit of time from now, but you can see how beautiful butterflies look on this card. And if I tilt it to the side, you can see how it looks like they're floating, right? And there's a frame around the whole inner rectangle. And it's really cool because it looks like they flow together and they're just kind of hovering in space. This is the center part that we removed, also up on dimensionals. Really fun look. So really, dimensionals are the key to making the floating frame, and then making sure that your images look like they're connected in some way, right? So this is what I was talking about too with the mini version. We're going to do a smaller section rather than a whole full card. You could literally do this on a large scrapbook page layout if you want to. It's just going to take a little bit more time. This is the bundle that goes with the cards that we're sharing today. So Aflutter, it's coming, it's new, or soon to be new, I should say. And then this is the punch. We're going to be using that set of images with blends markers. And I'm focusing on some colors that are in the Lovely and Beautiful designer paper. This is not the Lovely and Beautiful designer paper. This is another one that's coming soon. And it's in the description of my video. I can't remember the name. Hang on a minute. I might have to go to, oh, you know what? I have a PDF too. Let me see if I can pull that up so I can share that with you. We have a PDF that you'll be able to print off when this blog post goes live. And it's going to look like this. So I will put that up on the screen for you, just making sure it's visible. Okay, here we go. So, and you can see there's a little, that's going to be switched out with another image of the cards that we're making today. But you can see we're going to have the measurements for 2 sets of cards on here, the supplies, and what is that paper coming up? Bloom Boutique specialty paper is the paper that you saw on the background of this card here. So this card is using a lot more newer products. So it's the Bloom Boutique, it's Hydrangea Hue Cardstock, it's the Ultra-Flutter, obviously, bundle, the punch and stamp bundle, and then some colors in blends markers that are coming new. So this one here has tons of new products on it, but we're gonna do the same bundle, which you still can't have to wait to get, but we're gonna do it in more current products. So the Lovely and Beautiful designer paper, you can see Peach Pie, Petal Pink, Soft Seafoam, and Fresh Freesia will be the blends. And I do wanna make a note that, I think it's, yeah, the Peach Pie is leaving us. So also, you know, keep that in mind as we create today. So if there's anything that you see and it's available now, check to make sure that it's not leaving. All right, so these are the markers that we're gonna start with, but let me show you this card too, because we're gonna dive into this one. Hopefully we'll get some time for this. This is using the washi tape. And when I did a live with my YouTube members, my supporter members, a month and a half ago, we did the floating frame technique, and I started out using these and realized that this was not sticking to the Glad press and seal, which is a tool that you need if you're going to be doing the floating frame technique. It's in its entirety. So I'm going to show you how you can do this without the press and seal, because the press and seal won't stay on the washi tape. It's like resisting it. So let's get started. And then I have two other cards to show at the end. All right, so we're going to start with our layer. We're going to fill this layer with a bunch of butterflies, and I've already done that, but I'm going to go ahead and show you the process of creating these butterflies. So we just need some scrap cardstock, and we will use, let's see here, we'll use this one, and we're going to stamp. I've got Memento Tuxedo Black ink, and our stamp is set up onto a clear block D. We'll go ahead and ink that, and then we're going to stamp it down. And one thing that you want to note, when you're using a punch that's going to line up with a stamp image, it's always good to lay that punch next to your paper so that you can kind of position your images close to how the punch is positioned. So I'm going to do a better job on this one here. It looks like this one is more like straight up and down. So if I can do that, it's going to line my punch up better when I actually punch it out. So there's that. Close this up, and we'll move that out of the way. We're going to start coloring. So coloring with blends, just a few little tips here. I like to do the brush end of the marker because it comes to a finer point than the bullet tip, believe it or not. You can really get into tiny little spots with it. It's more flexible. It's more like a paintbrush. So if you prefer to color with like a marker that's more of a firm tip, then you could use the bullet end instead. I'm just saying that that's my choice. I also like to go with the light. The light is here, light peach pie, and then I go with the darker one, okay? So I go light, dark, and then I come in if I want to do some blending and blend with the light. We are not gonna do any blending. We're gonna have a two-tone effect for this. So I'm gonna start coloring, and I need my glasses. Oh, here they are. Because, I don't know, I need a new prescription again, I think. But we're gonna go ahead and color into one of these butterflies. And I'm just trying to stay within the lines because we are going to have that white border. Cap that. When you take the cap off of a blends marker, you want to pull with your thumb so that the cap is coming straight off rather than angled off. If it's angled off, you're going to wreck the tip of your marker, so just be gentle with the tips. You also can color on like embellishments, like pearls and rhinestones and ribbons, and if you do that, please note that you could ruin the tip of your marker also from that. Okay, so we have that one colored. Let's go ahead and do another color combo just to show you different colors here. This is the soft seafoam color. It's a light green, and it kind of like works well with the Lovely and Beautiful designer paper. The designer paper has Old Olive in it, but it's got like versions of the Old Olive, so light and dark and all of that. It's kind of hard to see this color in the camera, isn't it? Sorry about that. But we'll come in with a darker shade of that. And again, if you were going to do some blending, like to make it look like it's flowing dark to light, you would then go over the top with the lighter color again. Let's bring in oh gosh, let's see here. So that was this color. That's Peach Pie. And then we have, oh, Petal Pink, and Soft Seafoam and Fresh Freesia. Let's do a Fresh Freesia version. And I think with my Petal Pink, I went with the bullet end because my brush end of one of my markers is not behaving. So we'll do that one with the bullet end. Okay, let's do light. Coloring is also so relaxing. So we are playing with the Fresh Freesia. Now, Fresh Freesia is going to be the main color of our card. And you can see how, you know, the difference here. This is Fresh Freesia, but it will do kind of a little change on that color as it dries. Sometimes inks do that. They change a little bit as they dry. And then we'll just do the darker areas here. So this is more close to what the color actually is. Okay, and then let's do with the bullet tip of the Petal Pink. So we're gonna color in with the light. I hope I have the light one. Yeah, I do have the light one. Okay, and then we're gonna come in with the dark. All right, coloring, so relaxing, you guys. So I'm just choosing different areas of these butterflies to kind of make the dark and light areas. I love that you can make a butterfly really look however you wish. Really? There we go. All right. Set those over there. Now we're going to line up the punch. And not too bad. You can see the punch is slightly tilted on my paper on this one, but I can still get in there. And then this one, hopefully I'm a little bit straighter. There we go. See, just turn your punch over before you stamp so you kind of know how to line it up. So we have some extra butterflies in case we need them in our colors. So then you lay them out onto your cardstock. And I put these on here with just a bit of temporary adhesive. You could take and put like a dot of glue behind it, let it dry, and then stick it down. But you want temporary adhesive. I used this Herma transfer adhesive. It's like the adhesive that I choose for when I do photographs onto my scrapbook pages in case my kids ever in the future want to peel those photographs off and put them somewhere else, okay? So, will there be an alternative? Susan asks about the peach pie. You'll want to watch my color video on the new colors so you can see all the new colors coming in and see what options there are for that. All right, so here we go. We have our beautiful butterflies laid out, and they're all, again, stuck on here with just some temporary adhesive, so they'll be easy to pull up and off later. I just have a tad of adhesive on there. Then you're gonna take some press and seal. And so I've just got this wonderful Glad press and seal piece here that I'm going to lay down and keep it as straight as possible. Now, if you have these loose, you really have to be gentle when you lay this down because you have to grab them kind of all at the same time before they shift. But we have them on here so that they're kind of like grabbing onto the paper anyways. Then you press, and this really works great with stamped images from cardstock or just cardstock, die cuts, that sort of thing. But with the washi tape, this step was not working for me. It kept sliding off. All right. So we have that on there. And then you take, like what I do is I take the back of my fingernail. You could take your bone folder, but just kind of really dig into those butterflies to make sure that the butterfly area or your image area is grabbing onto the press and seal. Flip it over, and then we use long bladed scissors. And since we're doing the frame technique, we want to cut this so that our press and seal paper is the same size all the way around, and all those little extra edges are cut away. We want to have a perfect little rectangle here. How many of you have done the floating frame technique before on a card? And with what products did you use? If you did not do the floating frame technique on a card before, you could also share what stamp images or die cut images you'd like to try with that. I'd like to hear your thoughts on that. So here we have our butterfly paper that's almost ready to go, but this is where the impressive part comes through. We're gonna make a frame. You have choices on your frame. You have the choice of using die cuts like the Stylish Shapes dies. So you could take and cut a hole. You could cut a rectangle in the middle. You could do whatever you want with, as far as die cutting, take a shape and put it on there to make an inner part of your frame. You could take a punch. So you could grab, you know, a giant circle punch and punch a hole or whatever, okay? But there's also another way to do this, and that's with the basic trimmer. And that's what I did on my samples. So we'll go ahead and do the same thing that we did on my sample. And we're gonna go 3/4 of an inch in. So I'm gonna line up this edge here with the 3/4 inch mark. And I'm gonna start my blade so that it's 3/4 of an inch up and stops 3/4 of an inch from the top, okay? All right, so here we go. If this is at 3, we're gonna go to the 2 1/4 inch mark, press our blade down, and we're gonna slice going up to this mark here. If you go a little beyond, it's probably just fine, okay? You use the paper pumpkin kit with the rain boots and umbrellas. Oh my goodness. And you tore your images. Okay, yes, so if you're doing it this way and you're cutting, there is a risk of these images moving. So you want to be careful of that. But I'm also going to show you another thing that tore. It's the paper. Like there's a certain designer paper or printed paper that can have some tearing effects, and I'll show you that soon. So you kind of have to do the faux technique with those. So now we're going to turn it this way. We have our right edge up to the 3/4 inch mark. And we're going to press our blade down at the 3.5 inch mark because this is 4 1/4 inch long. So we'll start our blade at the 3.5 and we'll come through, making sure that those butterflies don't shift on us. Go up to the 3/4 inch mark. I went a little beyond. Oops. Now we'll turn it to here and we'll start again. We'll do 2 1/4, moving up to 3/4, and then the last side is 3.5, moving up to 3/4. Okay, we're ready to lift, okay? Made several years ago. Do you know you used, Faye? Would love to know. You did it with the Cute Bugs DSP. Awesome. Kellyanne, I'm also curious, with the DSP, did you do the die cutting to press the hole in the middle? Just curious about that. Have done the flow, didn't remember what you used several years ago. Okay, so just curious. Want to hear what your thoughts are. Okay, so we have the center part cut out, and now we have our frame, and we have our extra piece that we can turn into a second card. So this step gets a little putsy here too. We're gonna take and peel away our Glad press and seal paper. This is just, you know, to start it always is a little tough because you got to get right under that corner. Okay, there we go. So then I lay it down so that my frame is on top, and I can take and peel while keeping my frame that's connected to the butterflies and the press and seal. I want that to stay connected to my press and seal. All the butterflies need to stay on there, and my frame needs to separate. It's a very time-consuming technique. So just note that whoever you give your card to, you really, really want to, they want to be a special person in your life, right? Oh, good morning, Pam. Glad you could join. Okay, so almost there. All right, and I still want this frame to stay intact because that frame is going to kind of guide us here. I'm going to slip it onto this here so we can still see the frame. And we want it to stay flat. We have all of that little Hermafix, they used to call it Hermafix, but that Herma tape on there, and we're going to try to cover it up now with dimensionals. You could try to get all that adhesive off, but instead we're just going to come in And we're gonna add dimensionals to kind of get our, okay, that one didn't work. Let's try that again. I'll do a small one over there. So your dimensionals are gonna come in and connect over all your little sticky spots that you had with your temporary adhesive. And we'll start with the big dimensionals, and then we're gonna move to smaller ones because we have smaller pieces in here, and that's where it gets tough. That's where, like the card that I did with my YouTube members when we did the die cut tools for the garden, they're probably watching and laughing, but yes, there were really, really skinny parts of the plants and the tools, and it was kind of hilarious to watch Rachel try to remember this technique. Okay, so we've got that on there. Now we'll bring our mini dimensionals in, or you could cut down the ones that you have, and we'll just add a little bit more lift here and there. And you see, like this is a tiny piece over here, so we need a dimensional, plus I'm probably gonna put like a little half dimensional in there. I'm gonna grab my other scissors and we'll get some smaller pieces going. You may even want to get like a tweezers or the take your pick tool to help hold on to your bits and pieces as you go. Let's put this one here. I'm not going to probably do as good of a job as I would if I were not live, because we're going fast. But I want this to look decent, and I want this card to be something I can give to somebody too. No, for a card swap, Rose? Absolutely not. She goes, I wouldn't do this for a card swap. This is one of those putsy techniques. All right. And then you see that little one there? I'm going to try to grab it. I really am. Let's do that space, and I think even like this space here. This is where Rachel gets generous with dimensionals. Normally, I don't use a lot, but for this technique, yes. Okay, we're going to trim up one here so it's really, really skinny, and we're going to add that right in here. Let's see. Or maybe we'll just get rid of that little corner. Let's try it again, but let's do a different size. You guys are all like, oh my gosh, what is she doing? Let's try this one, which is more of a, okay. We can do it. We can do it. Right in, if it would get off my fingernail. There, I did it. I did it because I'm stubborn. Rachel is stubborn. We're gonna put another one right here. That might have been a little large. Okay, we'll try one more and we'll do a half one. Ooh, here's a good size one right here. So it's the tiny pieces that can cause the most frustration, but it gives the card such an amazing look afterwards. All right, next. We are going to put this layer onto a layer that is the exact same size as this outer frame. So I have another layer of cardstock that is sitting here. I think it's this one here. Yep, and so you see how I've like laid it on top of my dark background? So that's gonna help me, it's gonna kind of guide me to make sure that I lay this on there correctly. And I'm gonna go right over the top, so you're gonna probably see the top of my head get in the way of the camera for a little minute. We're gonna go around and peel off the backings here because we want this to stick. And if you need to, you could come in with the take your pick tool and help hold things in place as you go. All right, anybody else? Anyone else who has done this technique? Putsy, that's a word that maybe is just something I grew up with, or maybe it's a Minnesota word. It means really detailed, like it takes a lot of work. If something is, if it's a putsy job, it yeah, it's definitely maybe a Minnesota word. I don't know. Sorry about that. Okay. All right, we're almost there. This one and this one. Oh, and that tiny little one. I think I have that tiny one left. And we want to make sure the frame doesn't move. So the fuller your frame, the less likely it is to shift on you, as this one's doing here, because my fingers are getting stuck on the butterflies. We want it to stretch out and lie flat. We have one more backing here. Oh, you know what? That one's just going to come off. Sorry. It's gone. Okay. Here we go. It's lying down flat in front of us, and then we come over the top. So in my other video that I did, it was pre-recorded so I could speed up steps of the card. You can see there's a few things that are sitting outside the card here. So if you want to, you can take and trim those. So that they're not going beyond. And then we'll flip it over. Ooh, you can already see the loveliness of this effect. It's so cool. And then we just take and peel. And peeling you want to be careful on, especially if you are using designer paper or two-tone paper, any paper that is coated, or maybe if you have cardstock that's not real strong, you got to be careful because there's a little pressure that we put on this to get the Glad press and seal to adhere. If you're using a foil, I don't recommend the press and seal either, because the press and seal is going to leave these sticky little dots. There's tiny little dots that are on the back side of the press and seal. And sometimes they will adhere, but I haven't found that to be true on my stamped images. Now on this one here, same thing where we're going to peel this away. And I am going to ignore some of my tiny little bits on this one. See all those little extra ones on the sides? I'm going to ignore those. And we're just going to connect our dimensionals. You know, it's kind of like coloring though, in that it's got kind of a therapeutic feel to it when you're making something this putsy. This detailed. I didn't know that was like not a widely known word to use. I have used it a lot, haven't I? Ooh, did I get beyond there? And then we're going to use smaller ones on the last places here. We want one here and here and on these two. All right, and then I think I'll put a couple in this spot just to layer that up. And we're going to ignore all the others. So those are not going to get stuck to our card. Our floating frame technique will not have a full center. You could, of course, add more layers if you want to. I'm going to add another dimensional in here because we have some Herma adhesive in there. We want to cover that up. So now for this, we want to grab a cardstock piece that is the same size as our Glad Press and Seal rectangle. And that measures, and I think it's 1.5 by 2, 1.5 by 2 3/4. Yes. So let's go ahead and prepare that piece of cardstock. These frame pieces, they can get tossed. You're not going to need those. Let me grab a piece of cardstock. What did I say? 1.5 by 2 3/4. And that's going to go on top. All right. So again, it's on the dark background, so I can go right over the top and connect. And I lift it up, and if I see anything sticking out like this dimensional extra section there, you can trim it off. That one actually looks pretty good. So now I come over on this side and I peel this away. Oh, I forgot to take the dimensional backing off of that one. Let's do that again. Okay, and peel, peel, peel. And that one does not have a dimensional backing on it because it's too tiny. Okay, so there's our other piece. You can see why I've done a pre-recorded with these before. All right, so all of that could have been sped up, but we got to talk that whole time. Oh, yeah, that's not a very complimentary word. That's not the word that I'm using. It's P-U-T-S-Y. It is a Minnesota word. Thank you, Judy, I'm feeling bad now that some of you maybe felt offense from that. I'm sorry. Oh my goodness, I don't know if I can get that out of my repertoire because we use that here in Minnesota. All right, so now what we want to do, we have our backgrounds on here. We're going to go ahead and add these to a couple other layers, and those layers are 3 by 4 1/4. And I don't have those quite prepared, but let me, 4 1/4. Actually, I think I added this one to the center of 3 by 4 1/4 piece without, that's what I did, you guys. Let me back up for a minute. I didn't add the same size layer on this, but I was like feeling stressed because I'm taking too long. So I think what I did instead is I flipped the whole thing over after I took the backing off, and I laid the piece inside that area. In fact, that's what I did. So we won't be able to finish that card as is. I might have to redo that. But that's how I got this on this layer without any cardstock edging on there. See that? I just took this whole piece and stuck it. Yeah. Oh, all right. Anyways. So the next thing that we're going to do is, in fact, I could take, let's just work on one card at a time. So we need a centerpiece now. A centerpiece is going to be slightly smaller, and it's going to be 1 1/4 by 2 1/2. So let's grab that piece, 1 1/4 by 2 1/2. And that's going to lay on the inside here. And I think it looks really great when it's up on dimensionals as well, instead of flat, but you could do it flat if you want to. We're going to stamp that with a sentiment from the stamp set that says, "Fluttering by to say hi." So we'll just stamp that right in the center. And flip that over, and we can add dimensionals on the back side. Peel those up. And then the rest is just a matter of layering onto all the coordinating colors. For this one, had I put this on the correct size paper, another element that I have on this card is some pieces from the Greetings for All Mix and Match ephemera. So I just took like a little sentiment from the sheet. Thinking of you, you did it. Hooray. Something small though, like hey would be fun. I'm going to grab this hello just in case. I'll pull a couple out of there. And when I finish up that card, you'll see a sentiment from this collection of ephemera. They are not adhesive back ephemera pieces, so you can put them up on dimensionals. And that would be like maybe up in this corner here. Oh, we're getting some blurriness. Sorry about that. So that will go up in there onto the background. And then the layering comes in. So the layering for this would be fresh freesia, then some designer paper onto that, another layer of fresh freesia underneath, and then a black card base and a piece in the middle or on the inside that is the same size as this white. I will finish up that card later, but you hopefully got the steps of that. I'm sorry again that I put this onto a smaller piece. I should have added it onto here. All right, next, let me show you the other card. So this is another card that I was talking about, and this one uses the washi tape. And with the washi tape, the roll of washi tape, you kind of get two sections of colors in there. You get one that's, why is my camera doing that again, you guys? Oh, You get the one that's kind of more purplish and kind of a cooler green. And then, you know what? Close your eyes again. I have to see if this camera, okay, I'm gonna wipe it just in case. Let's see if that helps. I think I do need to get a new phone because my phone never did this in the beginning. Okay, so this is like the purples and the cooler greens, and then this is the warmer greens and the pinks. And so we're gonna go ahead and get our card base created. To make those pieces, you're going to put your washi tape onto a strip of white cardstock. So I am now preparing my card base, which is 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4. And there's that. Again, sorry about the camera doing weird things. Then we have a layer of white, and that layer of white is 5 3/8, so just slightly smaller. I'm cutting this over here because the camera is going wonko on me. By 4 1/8, and that is to layer right onto the front of the card like that. And this is where I just decided to be without the glad press and seal. I decided to just omit this and see if I could do it freehand. This takes less time, but you can do it. So you just start grabbing your pieces and you can lay them all out first, you know, kind of see how they fit together. So I just started doing a fun little design with my pieces here. Oh, I got to show you how to do these with the preparation of the flowers too. I forgot to do that. Let me come in, stick that one here, trying to replicate the design that I have on my other card. Okay, once you have the middle going, then you can start doing the outer edges. Okay, and we have another big rose up in this corner, a little piece here. Okay, so then you start grabbing your dimensionals after you kind of know where they're going to go, and you place them on there directly so that they're already floating. Oh my goodness sakes, why is this not focusing? That's just crazy. Maybe there's like a sweet spot where my camera's supposed to sit or something. Okay, and if your fingernails work, you can pick them up. And you can just start connecting and making your design. And once you get to the outer edges, you trim it up. I hope you guys don't mind that I'm going to continue to do this just a little bit because I want to be able to trim up one edge for you so you can see. Put those two together like that. Lift this one up. I would, of course, put more dimensionals underneath. And that piece is broken, so we're not adding that there. That one had a cut on the side. Try this one instead. And you just try to connect them as if you have like a bunch of puzzle pieces going, right? I will come back in and add more dimensionals under these pieces eventually, but I just want to show you as fast as possible how to get that look. Okay, once you have, in fact, I'm going to stick this one on here because this is the one that was already broken or cut. Oh, but it was cut in the wrong place. Okay, we're using this one. And we'll use this one up here. How's that? Rachel should not have tried to teach all of this in one video. I'm going to add this one right here. Okay, then you take and you flip it over after you've filled it to your liking. Then you flip it over and you trim, and you get kind of that faux look of the same technique because you didn't create a frame necessarily, but you created a similar lifted kind of look, right? And so that's how I got this card done without worrying about the conflict with the press and seal and the washi tape. Okay, to do the washi tape technique, if you haven't seen this wonderful stuff yet, the washi tape works with, I find a good size piece here. I'll just have to cut one. The washi tape works with paper. So you take first and you roll out this onto some cardstock. So I'm going to cut some cardstock here. And then you take and lay it down. And what I did, because I didn't want to waste pieces, is I took and I trimmed around where the pieces separate into the two color categories. So I was only putting down the washi tape that I was going to use at that time. Start somewhere in the middle, start spreading it out, and then press to the edges. You're gonna then lay this matching die. There's a coordinating die that goes with this. It's called Extraordinary Flora die. And you lay that down and you run it through your machine to die cut all the pieces. And that's how you get that. But the washi tape has a waxy surface to it. So again, it conflicts with the press and seal. Some other cards. Oh, I want to mention this too. On this card, this sentiment is from a new stamp set. This is from a stamp set called Phrases and Frames. It was a stamp set that was in the design process with Susan Cantfield. So she helped to create these images, these sentiments, the way that she liked them. So this is her Million Sales Achiever stamp set. Yay, Susan! She's my mama demonstrator, the one who I signed up under. So congrats, Susan Cantfield. And then this is a phrase that comes from that. I stamped that in the shaded spruce color, this dark, kind of cool green. And then this is Berry Burst cardstock. And on this one, I'll have a strawberry slush background, and I'll use the Mossy Meadow ink on top to get kind of that earthier colored green on there. Okay, two other cards, and these feature the dies from Made with Sweetness. So this wonderful collection of dies creates really fun fruit images. So you have strawberries, blueberries, you have cherries, you have peaches, citrus fruit, blackberries or raspberries, and then you can create these amazing cards. So these are the same concept. I did the same idea here, only this is where I would recommend not using two-tone cardstock. So for two-tone cardstock, it is dyed or colored on the surface of the paper instead of colored all the way through. And the problem, thanks Denise, the problem that happened, if I hold them up close, is when I peeled off the press and seal, you can see it also pulled away some cardstock at some areas because I did die cutting with the stylish frames. This is the first card I actually did because I thought I'd be able to show this to you guys. And I discovered that two-tone cardstock was not the best choice. I should have used cardstock that was dyed all the way through in case it would peel up some of the cardstock as I was pulling that press and seal off. So what else is not dyed all the way through? Designer paper. So designer paper is also printed on. So you'll just want to be careful if you're doing this technique and you're running it through the Big Shot, which sandwiches it and really presses that press and seal into your imagery. To peel off the press and seal from the imagery as you're trying to get your frame exposed is tougher. So stamped images where the ink sinks into the paper, or dyed cardstock all the way through. Our regular cardstock are better choices for die cut images or stamped images type thing. Anyways, the colors I used are pumpkin pie, two-toned, real red two-toned, garden green two-toned. This is misty, what's that color called? I'm blanking on it. Is it Misty Moonlight? Is that the one that we have? two-tone lemon lolly and lemon lime twist. And you can see where the framing is on this. So let me show you the frame piece that I used on there. I believe I used these two. So this one was on the outer frame. And you can see what's cool about doing the die cutting is that you get that little stitch mark that's going around the edges. And I don't know if you can see that. Let me zoom in a little bit more. There's a little stitch mark. You can see it on the lemon right here and on this blueberry. And then I used this one to do the white piece that went on the inside. And because there was quite a little bit of spacing between the two, I added some Real Red two-tone cardstock underneath that to make it stand out more. And this sentiment comes from another coordinating stamp set called Filled with Sweetness. So you're the sweetest, love you very much, really cute fruit sayings in there. The embellishments, so I do have embellishments on these cards and on this one here. So I brought in some different embellishments to share because that's kind of a fun way to fill space. This one I just used rhinestones. You could color them with your blends markers to make them colored rhinestones. On this one I used the iridescent pearls. And on this one I used, and I think I put it away, I used the Opal Rounds assortment. So it had some blue colors in there that worked really well with the blueberries. And then on this card here, this was the another one that I did in kind of a faux fashion. So you don't see the torn paper on this one. I did this one in the same way I did this. So I took and I just laid the pieces down onto a white base and trimmed up the edges. So I made it look as if it was cut with, you know, a paper trimmer, but instead I just fussy cut around it to trim it up to the edges. And I have little parts and pieces. That's the thing too, is when you have these things left over, like this one, you have a straight edge on here. So this straight edge could be one that goes against the side. So you don't have to throw away all your pieces either, okay? Can I touch up the die cuts with blends markers? I could. My only thing is, Marcia, is that if I did that, it might be a deeper tone and it might stand out even more. So I'm kind of liking the distressed look right now. So thank you though for that thought. And then this here also comes from our Greetings for All Mix and Match. The layer underneath here is Garden Green two-tone cardstock. So I use two-tone as far as all the colors on these cards. And then this was regular cardstock on this one and the rest of the cards. Okay, so again, just to kind of summarize, you can do this technique with the press and seal. If you're using the press and seal and you're running it through the Big Shot to die cut a frame, you'll want to make sure that any of your cardstock die cut pieces are with fully colored all the way through cardstock rather than two-tone. Designer paper also be careful of because that's also colored just on the surface. Washi tape doesn't stick to the press and seal, so you'll have to do that kind of the faux way. And you can certainly choose the false or faux, F-A-U-X way, doing all of your kind of floating frame ideas. It's just harder when you're actually making the frame, right? You kind of have to use a punch or a paper cutter if you're not using dies to get that frame really cut out of the middle of something like that. And then as far as what does work, stamped images, and then that, of course, cardstock that's dyed all the way through. We have quite the mess on this table. I do want to tell you that since I mentioned the peach pie, we have 4 other colors that are on the last chance list. We have Petunia Pop, Pretty in Pink, Summer Splash, and Shy Shamrock. So all of these colors have been put onto the last chance list. That means that those colors are leaving. Stampin' Up! Is not going to replenish the supplies for them. So once they're gone, they're gone. So you'll want to get in on any blends or ink pads or re-inkers for sure if you have ink pads. Cardstock. Cardstock is consumable, so stock up on any favorite color you want. What color cardstock was on the washi card? I had 2 different colors, Marcia. I had the Berry Burst on one and I had Strawberry Slush on the other. And the products that are going to be coming in soon will be that designer paper back here that has, I don't think I showed you this. This is such a pretty designer paper, you guys. It has gold flecking on one side, so gold foil, I should say, gold foiling on one side, and on the other side, you see the other pretty colors, and these are in new in colors. So we have the crisp cantaloupe and the peaceful pine. We have hydrangea hue in there. We have petal, it's called, I forgot. The really, really pale, Barely Blush. Barely Blush, that's the pink in here. And let's see. Oh, and then Golden Glow, which is the kind of golden color on there. I also want to say on these things here, if you want to get some samplers of new products, which include this designer paper or the butterflies are in colors, then check out my blog post, because my blog post that will be connected to this video will also be linked to my April ordering special. And then I also want to mention that I have a ton of pins ready. So if you are interested in getting enamel pins that have kind of that fun crafty tool look to them, this is the trimmer, these are the ink pads, and this is the positioner. So you can reach out to me or purchase those through my online store. Oh my gosh, so much news, so little time. Trisha, we love you. You are amazing. Thank you so much for all you did to moderate. Thank you, Becky, for the reminder of the thumbs up. If you enjoyed this video, please do so. Please subscribe to my channel too. And boy, did we go through a lot of ideas today. I really always think I can fit it in, and I just jam it all in there, don't I? I'm going to redo that one card where I put it onto too small of a paper. I'll put it onto a larger piece. I'll finish up those cards, and then the blog post will go live. I'm hoping to do that by this afternoon. And just checking out comments here to see if there are any questions. All right, so last chance list, check it out. Things are leaving, so you'll want to make sure that you go to my website and click on any shop tab. There's also a shop link in the description of the video, and see if there's anything that's leaving that you don't want to miss out on, because this is the time to get it. And also we have a new product of the month. Don't forget to get in on that beautiful die. And some new kits. I'm going to be featuring one of those kits next week. We won't go live this weekend. On Friday, I will be out of town. So the next live will be next Wednesday. I hope that you all come back. There you go. Thank you. Mary looked it up for us. Here in Canada means talking, killing time by doing something. Yes, that's exactly that. Okay, so you're familiar with the word too. It's weird that that word isn't universal in America. I thought it was. Anyways, take care, everybody. And I appreciate you all coming. That's it. So I'll let you all go. Now I'd like you all to go and stamp your art out. Bye-bye.